And welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Blizzard Morning. I'm your host, Scott Cole, and joining me is Kaiser Riddell, who's currently on mute, so he might want to fix his mic so that we could chat with him. There we go. What's going on, Kaiser?
I was getting there.
How's it going, man?
Oh, it's going. Just excited for this game tonight. And hopefully, we can keep our momentum up for our crazy cut last night or the other night.
Hopefully so. The Buffalo Sabres are in town. Eric Johnson tribute night, I believe. That's why Jenna Chavez is not with us. She's downtown enjoying the pregame festivities and everything going on down there. So hopefully we'll get some feedback from Jenna next week and let us know how the game was and everything. So for those of you who are joining us on Facebook, on the Facebook live feed, if you are going to comment or anything, please allow StreamYard permissions to use your name. Otherwise, all we see is Facebook user when your name pops up and you try to chat with us. So I want you guys to be able to talk to us as much as you can. If you're on YouTube, this is already done. Thank you for joining us and watching. It has not been a great homestand for the Colorado Avalanche as we thought it might be, as their recent results have been not so hot. We've gone 2-2-0 in the last 4 games of this 5-game homestand, with tonight being number 5. These games, some of them were not that pretty.
No, definitely not. I think a lot to do with that and our ugly games that we had on those 2 embarrassing losses. We were missing a lot of key players out with injury, with Nichushkin being out for a few games with illness, and Georgie just didn't look like himself.
Georgiev has not looked like himself in some time. Like I wrote an article after like our first 6-7 games where I was like, if Georgie plays like this the rest of throughout the season, he's going to be a Vezina Trophy finalist. I believe he's still up one of the top 5-10 goalies in wins on the year right now. So it's kind of weird to see that going on with him. So I don't know exactly what's going on with Georgiev. I don't know if it's a confidence issue or if it's just bad luck, but 14 wins in 23 games. He's a bit off the pace that we want him to be. He's 14-7 and 1 overall, but those goals against average, 3 goals. His goals against average is 3, and his save percentage is under 900 at an 897 clip. So not exactly something you want from your starting goaltender.
Well, I mean, one other big thing is it's not even just him. You also had a lot of defensive issues. We couldn't get good deep pairings, so we had no defense in front of him. I mean, Kel McCarr being out for those couple games with his issues, and like just bringing up new guys to try to fill that role for McCarr being out is tough to do.
Yeah. You're talking about trying to get people to eat up, 25, 26 minutes of ice time that your, premier defenseman or one of the elite defensemen in the league eats on a game-to-game basis. It's a pretty big ask of most people, So, but some tough games, as expected. Connor Hellebuyck started in net for the Winnipeg Jets in that 4-2 loss. Hellebuyck is a Vezina Trophy winner. He's a quality goaltender. There's a reason why Winnipeg signed him to another contract extension to potentially finish out his career with the Jets. They're a formidable team, and I don't blame people for thinking less of them. I mean, they're sitting 3rd place right now with 16 wins, 9 losses, and 2 overtime losses. 34 points, only 2 points behind the Colorado Avalanche right now.
Yeah, precisely. I mean, regardless, like Winnipeg's a fast club. Like they've got massive amounts of talent on their lineup. And as I was talking to a few friends of mine not too long, or a couple of days ago, it seems like every team we play, their goalie ends up having a season game that just stands on his head when it comes to playing us. And we're just unfortunate. Like we can't catch any breaks.
I think And we'll talk more on that subject specifically a little bit later in the show. You know, why the Avs seem to be so snake bitten against some of these opponents. It boggles my mind. I mean, I have a theory. I have a reason for why this happens, and we'll touch on it later. But let's move on into the next game, which was the Philadelphia Flyers. I believe Carter Hart started that game for them. You know, this is a guy. You know, Carter Hart was thrusted into the starting role for the Philadelphia Flyers at the age of 19. He's one of the youngest goaltenders in the league currently right now, and he was one of the youngest back then. He had a great rookie campaign. His second year was okay, and then he had a couple of muddled years where it just looked like he fell off the railings and like couldn't do anything. I think he's starting to get back to form, as much as I hate to say that. John Tortorella there in Philadelphia has done a great job as a head coach, and he has the Flyers sitting in third in their division, which is pretty impressive, all things considered. Again, defensive play, turnovers, unnecessary things happening on the ice, I think is what led to the Avs losing to this Philadelphia club that they may have underestimated.
Well, my big point on that is, yeah, we completely came out and underestimated him for the simple fact that we weren't giving Hart any credit for as good as he is with him just coming off of the injury he just came off of. He sat for 9 games, and it was only his second or third game back in the lineup, back in between the pipes. So we underestimated him 100%.
Yeah, it was tough to watch, what I do get to watch these games right now. The one bad thing about working overnights, folks, is like I have to start driving to work. So I miss a lot of the on-screen action that happens. So I listen to Connor McGahey talk about things that have happened. I'm like, God, I wish I could watch that. And then I get to work, and sometimes it's on, sometimes it's not. I work in a casino, so you never know what's on the TV. It's sports of some sort, but, you know, I don't always get to watch it.
Not the sport you want.
Yeah, not the sport I want. Who the hell wants to watch basketball? But the Avs did manage to eke out an additional win, their second win on this 5-game homestand. And I have to say, Kaiser, I was on my way to work. I watched the first period. I caught part of the second period because this was I think this was a 6 o'clock start time for this game.
Yeah, it was a 6 o'clock game.
So I watched the first couple periods, and then I had to start driving to work. So I started driving just after the second period ended, and then went to intermission. On my way up to Blackhawk, I'm listening to the game on the radio, and I hear us go from being up 2-1 to down 5-3 at some point.
Yeah.
5-2
at that point. that was where it got to, and it stayed.
I think I couldn't. The second period like drove me to my grave. I turned it off.
I was pretty damn close.
I turned it off.
I was this close to turning it off.
I was so upset. I was like, I'll catch the last of it at work. I just had to right my head on my way into work. I didn't want to go into work like totally depressed and like not wanting to be there. So I turned off the radio. I switched over to music or something. I get to work. I'm literally getting like on the floor at work, counting into my bank, talking to some of my coworkers, and it's not Barstool Sports, it's ESPN Bet Sportsbook, our sportsbook at Ameristar. And they have the game on. I can hear the audio, and I hear the ball and a goal horn go off like 4 times in the span of like 12 minutes. And the Avs pulled off what was this amazing comeback victory and won that game 6-5. I was not happy with the last almost 4 minutes of the game after we took the lead, but talk about a resilient team. This is something that I think Avs fan needed to see that this team was capable of doing.
Well, what they finally did was they actually started playing with grit in the corners and playing with intensity and not just sitting back and playing to not lose, but they were just playing to win regardless of what was going on the scoreboard. And it was great to finally see that because we haven't seen that resiliency in them since the Cup year.
Yeah, no, I mean I watched the replays, the tenacity, the pressure, the effort that the whole team was putting in on this game. You know, I don't know what was said during the second intermission. I don't know if Gabriel Landeskog went in there and was like, I would really love to slam shit around right now, but I can't because of my knee. Rantanen, pick up that chair, break that chair.
You could tell Bednar was livid leaving the bench at the end of the second period. You could just tell he was pissed. And honestly, they came out in the third period, and what I've always said, forecheck, backcheck, paycheck, baby.
And it worked. They got the win. But here's the issue I saw towards the end of that game, and I'm pretty sure some other people saw it too. I think it was 3 minutes and 47 seconds left in this game when the Avs took the 6-5 lead, and all of a sudden, all that fire, all that push, that drive, that forecheck, that back checking, all that was gone. It just disappeared. It wasn't to be seen. You saw the entire Avs offense shift from this, guys, we got to get this goal. We got to get this next goal. We got to get this next goal to, oh, we did it.
Just get it out of the zone. Just clear it down. Ice the puck.
Yeah. I lost count. I lost count how many times icing was called in the last 3 minutes of the game. It felt like more than
4 times.
It felt like more than 4 times. I
swear 4 times in a minute. 4 times in a minute.
You want to eat up ice. You want to eat up the time. You want to get to the buzzer. You want to get to that final horn. You want to win the game. I get that. Icing the puck, keeping the same players out on the ice, running yourselves ragged in your own defensive zone. That's not how you do it. I can't tell you how many times Prosvetov was scrambling just to find the puck and cover it, you know, to get a whistle.
Well, I know what it stems from too, ultimately, is the fact that we have such a hard time getting out of a period late to where we give up the puck so easily. So it's like that whole dumping and just trying to ice the puck, it stems from them being too afraid to handle the puck and turn it over in our own zone to give up a late goal.
Which I don't understand. You have some of the best puck handlers on this team, man. I just
but they haven't looked like the best in the last 8 games.
It felt like the last minute of a penalty-driven NFL game. You know, it
100%.
Really did. I just don't know where it happened. But on the plus side of all this, MacKinnon had 3 points. MacKinnon continued to do it all right here.
True.
You know, 3 points in this game, a goal, 2 assists, made everything look great, and he keeps his home point streak going. This is 14 games. He's scored a point, at least 1 point in every single home game right now. And he continued his overall current game point streak to 12 games.
Which is at 12 games.
Which is great. He's got 26 points at home, 9 goals, 17 assists. You talk about somebody grabbing the bull by the horns and running with it, Nathan MacKinnon's your guy.
Well, as long as he doesn't go off and do what he did for that 8 games, yeah, he was getting assists, he was getting points, but there was like an 8-game stretch to where he was trying to be too fancy, make the perfect passes, and not playing his game. Like, he was trying to be too pretty.
Yeah.
And it really disappeared last game. He actually started handling the puck like MacKinnon handles the puck. He started being quick on entries. Stopped worrying so much about what their sticks were doing. He was just going through everybody. It was beautiful to watch.
Which needs to happen. I hate to say it because I love that we have Nathan MacKinnon on our team, but I think herein lies the difference between Nathan MacKinnon and Connor McDavid. Connor McDavid just drives to the net regardless of what's going to happen around him and just throws the puck on net. I'm sorry to say it. Nathan MacKinnon needs to do a lot of the same thing. There's a reason the NHL and a lot of, fans and awards go Connor McDavid's way. It's because of how weird and awkward some of his goals are. I mean, they're not all, perfect shots or anything else like that. MacKinnon's got speed and he's in great puck handling and everything, but some of those dirty, gritty goals don't necessarily happen with Nathan MacKinnon like they do.
Well, there's also a little difference. There's also a little difference with the way McDavid's able to skate in. He's also got Hopkins and Nugent Hopkins and Draisaitl on his line with him, so they're not able to just double and triple team McDavid like they do with MacKinnon constantly.
Well, let them double, triple team MacKinnon all they want.
One-on-one opportunities, and then you get MacKinnon who's got to split defenses and skate through 2-3 guys.
True, but at the same time, if MacKinnon's doing his job, that opens up the other guy that's on his line with him, and Mikko Rantanen, who also got a goal last night.
Well, who's also been in one of the biggest slumps and just not looking like him. Like last 5 games of his, Mikko has not looked like himself. He's literally looked like he put his clone out there on the ice. He can't handle the puck. He hasn't been handling the puck right. He's been turning it over in some of the dumbest spots on the ice, and he just hasn't looked himself.
My question there is it Mikko Rantanen not necessarily looking like himself? Is there some, are there issues within the locker room or around the locker room that may be contributing to that? Or is it an on-ice issue where people know where Mikko's going to set up? People know where Nathan MacKinnon's going to set up majority of the time when they get their opportunities. Are they playing them a little bit differently than what they normally would, which kind of throws them off, which means our star players have to reconfigure how they're scoring, how they're getting the puck on net?
I think it could be a mix of two things. One, what you just said, speaking on with him getting flip-flopped through lines, it's giving him a little bit of mental frustration, so it's throwing him off his game. But on top of it, I think there was either an existing injury that he was kind of nursing and not 100% that he wasn't telling anybody about, or he just had some personal mental issues going on with something in his personal life that's just taking him out of the game.
And both are highly possible. I mean, I think it was after the Calgary game, some reporters were talking to Mikko Rantanen about some words that were shared by Artturi Lekkonen's dad, his father, Ismo, who is, a Finnish, media personality overseas. What exactly did he say? It was Ismo expressed some criticism over Rantanen's preparation for the season in a recent interview. In his comments, Ismo
said he wasn't preparing preparing for the season like he did in past years.
Yeah. Didn't have a very good summer, and that pain and frustration were showing in his game. So basically, Ismo called out Rantanen, who's for his off-season workout ethic, I guess, is what I gather from that. And I'm like, let's take a look at what the last 3 seasons have looked like for the Avs. And the season prior, so the 2020-2021 season, the Avs made the playoffs and got eliminated second round, right? Or third round?
Bubble season.
Not the bubble season, the season afterwards. The season before we won the cup. Was that third round? Second round?
Yeah, we lost to Montreal that year.
Okay. I think you're
I believe it was Montreal that year.
I think you're thinking 2 seasons before the cup. I'm talking the season before the cup. Last 3
second round San Jose.
Okay.
I believe.
Then so you're in the playoffs, which means your off season shortened just an additional 3 weeks if you made it to the second round. And then Stanley Cup season. Your off season is significantly shorter because of the length of time.
You got like a month.
Yeah, you got like a month and a half before you're returning to preseason and getting ready to ramp up activities for the following year.
Going into camp and
So no real off season to rest, recuperate, all that stuff because you're getting ready for the next season. This past season, 7-game first round elimination after 7 games against Seattle. Sucked.
Yep.
Lots of injuries, all that stuff. But again, that's another 2 weeks off from the offseason. So you had to take this offseason to recover from the previous year's offseason and a Stanley Cup title. There's a reason it's hard to repeat as a Stanley Cup champion because you're putting 82 games on your body, and then you have to go and win you have to win 16 more games, not to mention some teams end up playing an additional up to 28 games to make it to the Stanley Cup. So you're talking over 100 games at max on your body per season in a 10-month, 8, 9, 10-month period. That's a lot of skating. Yeah. That's a lot of hockey. That's a lot of bumps and bruises and mental stress and anxiety and whatever else you want to call it. So, yeah, if Mikko Rantanen had one bad offseason where he was showing pain and frustration.
Would you blame him?
I know.
Like, I know exactly how he feels. I'm unable to play currently because I have to rehab my knee.
Yeah.
Due to long, constant seasons.
These things happen. So it is what it is. I get it. Mikko Rantanen, got a goal. It's been 9 games since the last goal on November 22nd, but he's contributed. He's had 6 assists. Is it the scoring proficiency that we want to see from our star players? No, but
definitely not.
I think there's room to grow, and I think people just need to back off, especially somebody like Nismo who's got an Avs there's an Avs player in his family. I'm like, why are you talking crap behind the team's back and making them feel even worse for the situation that they're in? They're still sitting first place, barely, in the Central Division. They're still a competing team, and we'll dive more into why the Avs are struggling.
Still on the top in the whole West.
Yeah.
I loved Mikko's recant to him at the end of the post-game presser. He's like, just stop talking shit.
One of our Finnish players, Dad was talking shit about me in the media that I didn't train last summer like I used to. And he was just making things up. So I think that performance was for him. If you talk shit, it's going to come back at you.
Just don't talk shit. And he said it with a straight face. Watching that interview, I was dying.
You want to talk about interviews? I don't mean to get off course here for a second, but I don't know if you saw Nikola Jokic interview last night after being ejected.
Oh yes. Oh.
Reporters are over there talking to Nikola like, "Hey man, what's going on?" He's like, "It is what it is. Some people get calls, other people don't, but it is what it is. I can't say anything more about it." That gave me total Marshawn Lynch vibes. I'm here so I don't get fined.
I'm here so I don't get fined.
I'm here so I don't get fined. Anyway, the Avs enter their final game of this 5-game home set. They are currently 2-2, 2-3-1 on the month of December. Kaiser, the Buffalo Sabres are in town. Erik Johnson's back. This is probably going to be the only time we'll see him this year in Denver, unless the Buffalo Sabres somehow make a magical run to the Stanley Cup, and we get there too. So it is Erik Johnson tribute night. That is where Jenna is. That's why she's not here with us, like I said at the top of the show. What do the Avs need to do to salvage this homestand and kind of give Avs fans a little bit of hope as we get closer and closer to the Christmas break?
I have 2 words for it. Special teams. Our power play needs to start performing. We need to start putting pucks on net, shooting for the rebounds. If we don't do that, we are not going to do anything. Special teams are such a big downfall for us right now. We have, 2 power play goals in the span of 20 power plays? And we got them both last game.
Well, last game was only 1 for 4. We're 1 for 10 in the last 3 games that we've
Yeah,
played
there you go.
on the power play. So it's a 10% clip over the last 10 opportunities is not what you want to see. I would settle for 30% on the power play right now, but we aren't even averaging that. So I agree. Special teams needs to step up, but I think there's a little bit more to it than that. And
well, yeah, there's more to it, but with the way our speed and the way we're able to drive in the net, we're able to draw calls.
Yeah.
So with us being able to do that,
we still see your advantage, 100%.
We
Something
need
else
to actually take advantage of those.
Yeah. Something else the Avs need to do: play your position. Don't overcomplicate things, guys. You're a defender, do your job. You're a winger, do your job.
Well, we've also had an issue 5-on-5. We've also had the issue 5-on-5 to where we clump up 3 guys on one wing. All 3 of our forwards are on the left wing, bunched up in a group.
That's
no
chemistry,
one to throw
man.
the puck to.
That's chemistry. I mean, you got to look at it. You go back to Little League soccer. When you put 12 toddlers on a field, what happens with a soccer ball? They all chase the soccer ball because you're not teaching them the basic fundamentals of the game. Coach Jared Bednar has proven on every single level of hockey, he knows what he's doing. He knows the fundamentals of the game. He just needs to get everybody to do their job. My issue with the Avs is you have a lot of names on this team. A lot of names. Mikko Rantanen, Cale Makar, Nathan MacKinnon, Jonathan Drouin, Valeri Nichushkin, Ryan Johansson, Tomas Tatar, Ross Colton, Miles Wood. These are names that are known throughout the NHL.
One of those names you just brought up is huge. Tomas Tatar. With him finally getting his first goal in an Avs sweater last game, hopefully that sparks him and spikes him back up to where he gets his confidence back and can become a 20-goal scorer again.
Hope so. Could you imagine having a 20-goal scorer on your third or fourth line? It
would be incredible.
And that's what I'm talking about. There are enough names on this team that you can spread them across your lines and just go out and perform. The issue that we're having, though, and this is the same reason why Team USA back years ago, we're talking a Lake Placid era when the Miracle on Ice happened, went from NHL stars to unknown people. All these NHL stars wanted the glory for themselves. They're playing as individuals. That Lake Placid team, college players, college level hockey players, people coming up, they play for the name on the chest. The Avs need to get back to that. Play for the logo on the chest. Play as a team. Go out, perform. That's what the Avs need to do, in my opinion, to salvage this homestand.
We've just lost our flow. That's just it. We have one of the deepest rosters in the league. We actually have 4 full lines. And we have been struggling with our third and fourth lines having to produce more than what our first 2 lines have been doing.
But on the other side of this, yes, the on ice chemistry and everything else needs to improve and everything, but there is somebody back with the organization who has an opportunity to improve this situation, and that is Captain Gabriel Landeskog. He is back in town. He's back around the team. He's talked with Coach Bednar. They've had a conversation. He is officially moving back to Denver, people. He is moving back into town. He's getting his kids back into school. Christmas break is come early in Canada. His kids, his family, his wife are moving down here. He's going to start rehabbing more with the team, being around the team, continuing his therapy sessions and everything, and being the captain that I think this team needs off the ice. It's going to be great. I hope that Landeskog being back around the team and providing his insight and helping with things is going to take some of that pressure off of the leadership that's on the ice and allow them to perform the way they've needed to.
Yeah, well, him being back in town is a huge thing for this team chemistry to finally, make it a cohesive unit.
The glue has arrived.
The glue is here. But him being back in town means so much to this entire organization, MacKinnon and Rantanen specifically, because they've been playing. Them three have played together since 2013, pretty much.
It's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens with Landeskog back in town.
Just his locker room presence is huge.
Oh, huge. Absolutely huge. His locker room presence, his presence around the arena. I mean, dude, he's all over the place, man. He is even right here. He is here.
Oh, he's got the cutout.
He is present everywhere, people. Having Landeskog back in town is going to be awesome. His rehab does continue, everybody. He is not yet been cleared for any type of skating activity. He's hoping to get clearance to resume light skating activities, which I assume is just straight lines.
He's trying for the next month to be allowed light skating duties.
Light skating duties, people. Let's keep that in mind. That doesn't mean
basically it's like not knowing how to skate and going to the ice rink for a public skate. He's just gonna skate circles and just.
All right, Landy. Here's your walker.
Maybe have his little walker.
All I want you to do is remember this: 1 2 1 2 1 2
1 2 1 2 1 2.
That's it.
Just get healthy, Cap. That's all. That's all I gotta say. Get healthy, Cap.
And I encourage any of you guys to look up that clip of that little kid skating 1 2 1 2 1 2.
It's the cutest thing in the world. Ever.
It's freaking awesome.
Especially when he asked for McDonald's like midway through his practice.
Yeah, I just want some McDonald's. Fantastic. All right.
Sounds like Scott Cole when he's on the ice.
Yeah, 1 2 1 2. That's why I stand in one spot, everybody. All right. So we were talking a bit about this earlier. The Avs have a number of issues on this team. How do the Avs address this? And I think the presence of Landeskog will help them in just getting back to the basics. Is how do they address defensive issues of turnovers and the general poor play that we've seen, which has led to us having probably one of the highest goals against average in the league right now, not just for the month of December, but overall. I mean, right now, you said it, we've allowed 26 goals in the last 4 games, or for the month of December, 26 goals across 6 games. I think that you said, 4.2 goals against average right now?
Yeah.
How do we fix this?
Personally, I think we need to just stop, pardon the language, but stop dicking around in our own zone with the puck. The defensemen keep trying to hold the puck way too long in our zone instead of us getting the quick breakouts like we're used to doing, which is causing a heavy forecheck on us, and it causes the turnovers, and goalies just kind of left hung out to dry.
Yeah, the reaction time of a goaltender is the reflexes of a cat, and when the reflexes of the cat are sleeping because they expect you to freaking be out of their zone, I mean, it's hard to reset. When you see
Defendy can't land on his feet, man.
Yeah, when you see a goalie set up, they have the opportunity to come out and and approach that person and block and take up some of the space to kind of block off and cut off the angles. But when you see a goalie, oh, my team's got the puck, they kind of skate back and relax, and they're like up against the bar, getting ready to, just trying to shake it off and reset, and then having to go from that lax position into immediate alertness. Yes, it is the goalie's responsibility, but at the same time,
it's your defense's responsibility to get it out of the zone.
You're dependent on the team and the 5 guys in front of you to skate that puck out of the zone, pass that puck out of the zone, and give you that opportunity to reset. It's easier for a goalie to reset when the puck clears the blue line, the blue line that's right there in front of them, than it is for them to like look over in the corner and be like, oh shit, I gotta set up here and post up and get ready to go, not knowing what's coming from the other angle because the puck's still in the zone. You don't know where all the other skaters are.
Well, and I've noticed this from the last couple games. Because of us taking so long to have a breakout or get the puck out of our own zone, the opposite teams have been sending 2 forecheckers instead of the 1 forechecker they normally do because they rely on that timidness to get out of our zone for them to just create a quick turnover and boom, you have an instant 2-on-0.
They're doing what the Avs have done best in the last few seasons, and that's the forecheck. The Avs usually only send 1, but when they feel like they can get the pressure, they send 2, possibly even 3. But the issue, the issue we have is when the Avs are sending that number, that many people in on the forecheck, they leave themselves out high and dry on the back end, which creates 3-on-2, 4-on-2 opportunities, which are sometimes even less. Because what happens if the defense is, I don't know, changing?
True. We need to tighten up our line changes as well. We have had some really sloppy line changes.
We've had some really sloppy everything. Line changes. True. It's tied. There's 20 seconds left in the game. I think I'll just kind of hang out back here, not pay attention.
And don't get me started on their dumb cross-ice passes we've been trying to make. Instead of just finding that good pass from the wing to the center, we're trying to go from wing to wing the whole time through the neutral zone, and we're just getting picked off left and right.
These are all professional NHL players. They are all really, 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 really good at their game. They're really good at what they do. They get paid
Except they have not been good with the stretch passes.
Yeah. I mean, that MacKinnon goal was pretty sick. That MacKinnon goal is pretty sick. I'll give him that, for the go-ahead goal. That was a beautiful stretch pass right there. But
all I heard was MacKinnon on a breakaway. I'm like, cool, we win.
Yeah.
MacKinnon gets a breakaway. You damn near know he's going to guaranteedly bury that puck.
Yeah.
He's putting the biscuit in the basket, boys.
I think he's about 80%. I think he's 80% success rate on that breakaway goal opportunity in his career. Something crazy. I don't know, but he's really good at what he does.
It's an absurd stat.
So again, like I addressed earlier, they need to play for the logo that's on the chest, that's on the sweater. Don't play as individuals. I think that's part of the issue that's going on right now. You have some really talented players throughout this organization, and people are really starting to grow. Consistency is key, that's for sure. And I think we're starting to find that. We've had some changes on defense. We've seen some people pop up. Oscar Olausen was up for a little bit. Caleb Jones, Sam Malinsky. We're trying to find that consistency, especially with some key players being absent still. Arturi Lehkonen has not been cleared to skate yet. I think
they're looking for January.
Progressing. Yeah, January. Sam Girard, there's no new news on Sam Girard, so I think Malinsky's here to stay for a long time. We'll see what else is going on. But which seems to be the bigger issue here for the Avs in regards to their general poor play? Is it goaltending? Do we have a goaltending issue? As much as I hate saying that because I love Georgie and what he has done in the past. Defensive play, or is there something else at stake here that's really driving a wedge in the Avs?
I hate to say it, but I have to really kind of go with where it kind of hurts you. I think goaltending's been our bigger issue. Georgie's let in some really soft, weak goals that he should be stopping with how quality and caliber goaltender he is. The other thing is also, just as we were talking earlier, the cohesiveness of this team and the chemistry. It's just not all there, so it's a lot's getting put on Georgie's head.
Yeah, I can agree with that right there. My biggest concern is we saw how busy Georgiev was to start the season, where he was playing every single game. I think he played the first 8-9 games for the Avs.
First 9, yep.
So he played almost every single game, and a day, like maybe a day off in between. So he was consistent and everything, and he was playing very, very well. The Avs got out of the gate strong. And
Yep.
now they're starting to give Prosvetov some more opportunities and everything. And Georgiev's getting some additional rest days in here. Could those rest days possibly be a downside to his game? Maybe.
At the moment, no. I think at the moment I think they need to maybe alternate games for a little bit just to get Georgie back into his quality state.
Yeah.
And I mean, Prosvetov has showed he can be a quality goaltender. He can be a quality starter. He's a stand-up quality backup right now. And we need to actually have a little trust in him.
Here's another thought that just crossed my mind. When Pavel Francouz went down and they went and they grabbed Prosvetov from the Arizona Coyotes, Prosvetov was fairly unknown in my world, in my book. I had to look up his stats, and I wasn't a huge fan of his stats, but what can you do when you're up against the salary cap and have minimal money to spend, especially on a position like goaltender? Therein lies an issue. The Avs have had the same goaltending coach for years now. And I mean years. This guy has been phenomenal. He's worked with just about anybody who's come through here. Craig Anderson, Semyon Varlamov.
Bennington, right? It's still Bennington, right?
I don't remember. I'd have to
I think it's Craig Bennington still.
But this guy's been around for a while. He worked with Grubauer, with Kemper, and everything. So he's a fantastic goaltending coach whose name's on the cup, and everything else. So maybe he spent some extra time with Prosvetov, getting Prosvetov up to speed with the way this team operates, everything else, what they want to see from him and everything. And maybe didn't feel like he had to focus on Georgiev as much. And maybe Georgiev kind of fell by the wayside a little bit. That's me spitballing. But it could have something to do with it,
Well, I mean, with Prosvetov, his stats with the Coyotes weren't that great, but it's also, you got to think about it, it's the team in front of you as well.
Yeah. 100%.
And him being here, his stats are going to tremendously increase based on the team that we have and our style of play, that the defense that's in front of him.
Yeah. Speaking of Prosvetov, I believe he's getting the start tonight against the Buffalo Sabres, and it's deserved.
Yeah, he gets the well-deserved start tonight.
He came in the third period when the Avs were down 5-3 and stopped 11 of 11 shots and helped the Avs secure the win. So, yeah, sorry about your fantasy stats right there. What was it, -6.5? I didn't fare much better last night, man. I only got 1.2 points from Thompson. So, but it's definitely interesting to see. I think the Avs are going to build their confidence with Prosvetov and that, give Georgiev that extra day off, and hopefully his ship gets righted sooner rather than later.
I think Georgie just has some soreness going on, and he needs the rest.
Yeah, I mean it's an exhausting position, people. It's exhausting.
It's not just standing in a net. It definitely is not.
It is exhausting to the point. I mean, your abs are constantly activated, hunched over, like your
thighs are on fire 24/7.
Your thighs are on fire. Everything freaking hurts. Your hips are like, why the hell do we do this? It's a rough position, and I that's why I love goaltenders. I've been through it. I get it. It's crazy.
You like goaltenders because they're weird and you're weird.
I am weird, so I take it. Moving on the brighter side, everybody, we each pick one player who we think, even through this homestand and whatnot, has been a bright piece to this organization so far. I am going to let Kaiser go first with his pick.
I'd have to say our bright piece of this organization right now is Ross Colton. He has been a stellar aspect within our third and fourth lines. Whether they move him third, they've been fluctuating him a little bit in the lines, but pairing him with Wood and O'Connor as well. He's put up, I believe, 14 points. It's not a whole lot, but the way he grinds in the corners, the way he helps dig the puck out and helps set up plays and put pressure in the offensive zone, like we've been needing to do. That's my bright star. Ross Colton, he's an animal.
Yeah, I mean, 14 points. He's played all 28 games for the Avalanche, averaging that 36 minutes of ice time per game. Face-offs at a half 50% pace, almost 51%. That's one area where the Avs really needed somebody consistent, was at the face-off circle, and hopefully that number improves, a smidge. I would hope for like a 55, 56% face-off win percentage. So hopefully Ross Colton can do that. On the other hand,
he's just got that good vision of the ice. Colton's just got good vision from behind the net. He can make good quality passes to the points into the slot. He's a good playmaker for sure.
Is a great pickup from the Tampa Bay Lightning, who were, again, another team facing salary cap issues, and we got him for a decent price for the next 4 years. So I will take it. That's a great pick. I like that pick. I am going with number 70, Sam Malinsky, this defensive player, 5'10", 190 pounds, undrafted. How many undrafted people do you know of that are playing in the NHL? Not many. Sam Malinsky happens to be one of them. He played with Cornell, which is a sore spot for both of us, because Cornell was a team that eliminated the DU Pioneers from the Frozen Four last year, which was unfortunate. No repeat for the Pioneers. Bastards. Anyway, Malinsky's played 6 games for the Avs so far this season. No goals, but he's had 2 assists, and he's averaging 13 minutes and 11 seconds of ice time. And he played 17 games with the Eagles as an undrafted player, 3 goals, 6 assists. He's been phenomenal as an undrafted player. Not saying that he was going to go undrafted, but his career was kind of sidelined with the COVID and everything. He lost a year of eligibility, kind of fell under some radars, wasn't really scouted a whole lot. But there was somebody who did scout him. That was the Colorado Avalanche, and they really liked what they saw, so they brought him in, signed him to a 2-year entry-level deal, which you can do with undrafted players, and he's performed well. This is somebody who's comparable in stature and size to Sam Girard, which I think is a benefit to Bo Byram. That line chemistry, right? That pairing chemistry that could possibly work out for both of them right there. He's got similar style and speed of play to Sam Girard. The one thing he doesn't have that I haven't seen is La Tornade, which Girard is famous for. I think it's going to take a lot.
Tasmanian devil, man.
Yeah, I mean, that hair and everything underneath the helmet, man. Girard's fun to watch on the ice when he does skate.
Well, the other person Malinsky could be paired with would be Jack Johnson. Like, that'd be a good pairing with Johnson's veteran presence on the blue line and be able to help him work and get that development that he needs at the NHL level.
And I think we are seeing that happen. I think Malinsky gets paired more often with Jack Johnson than he does with Bo Byram, as Josh Manson has been moved up to the second pairing with Byram on a regular basis. But I think if they start increasing Sam Malinsky's time and everything on ice, I think the eventual pairing would be best Byram and Malinsky. I think those are 2 very comparable players, and I think the chemistry might be there. I wouldn't expect it anytime soon, but eventually it might happen. But for me, Sam Malinsky is the brighter side player for the week.
I would personally like to see Byram paired with Makar more and maybe put Malinsky with Taves.
Could be interesting. The great thing about defensive pairings is you can pretty much
they're interchangeable.
If you want. Yeah. But I know they have certain styles that they like to stick with and whatnot. So we see more moves on our front lines than we ever do with our pairings. The only time we ever see pairing mix-ups is when an injury occurs, which I hope is few and far between. Anyway, that's going to do it for most of our show, but we're going to take a look at the upcoming schedule for the Colorado Avalanche. a light schedule this week. There's 4 games on the schedule. We talked briefly about the Buffalo Sabres game, which is tonight, here in about an hour and 20 minutes, give or take, because you know how TNT and NHL is with their scheduling. They say
with us being the second game, we're going to be 8:30.
Yeah, and closer to 8:30, folks. 8:25, 8:30 is my guess. But Buffalo Sabres are in town for an 8 p.m. game. This game is televised on TNT, streaming on HBO Max, and on Altitude since it is a local game. You can stream it on any of those channels. Give it a watch. I plan on watching here soon. I'm hoping to check the mail and see if my new credit card came in, because if I can get a ticket, I'm going.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
I said if I might. It's more 80% no, I'm staying here and streaming at home, and the 20% I hope the credit card's in the mail and it came today, so I can go purchase the ticket and go. But as we said at the beginning of the show, I fully expect to see the Erik Johnson tribute tonight. And yes, I am wearing a blue jersey, but it's not a Sabres jersey. This is a Team Sweden jersey for Captain Landeskog people. So. Not from Buffalo.
I almost thought you were pulling out the Forsberg jersey for a second.
Almost, yeah. No, this is a Landy jersey. Buffalo is a formidable team. I would not sleep on these guys one bit. They are currently
they're like 11-17.
Yeah, they are 12, 14, and 3. They are 7th in the Eastern Conference and 7th in the Atlantic Division. That's what I meant to say. But this is not a team I would sleep on. And that's one thing I wanted to get to with the Avs is you talked about it a bit. Why are we losing these games to these opponents and whatnot? Everybody is coming after the Avalanche with a vengeance. 2 years ago, every NHL analyst in the world, and for several years, is like, oh, the Avs aren't good enough to win the Stanley Cup. They're not going to win the Stanley Cup. I'm going to pick an East Coast team or a West Coast team like Vegas, who spent a bunch of money and blah, blah, blah. The Avs eventually had to spend money to get there, but once you won the Cup, you're on everybody's radar. You're a season and a half removed from winning the Cup. Everybody's gunning for you. Everybody wants to prove that they are a quality team against one of the best in the business.
Well, it doesn't help that we're always put as the favorite to win the Cup the last 3 years.
Oh, yeah.
So that automatically puts us on everyone's radar.
Yeah. It's so, take it with what you will. I get Avs fans, oh, we need to win the division. We need to win the division. I got a secret for you. Just make the playoffs. That's all you got to do.
Yep.
I mean, yes, home ice advantage is great and everything, but just make the playoffs. And we'll dive more into that because that's going to come up a whole lot more the closer we get to the end of the season, everybody. So just put a pin in that. We'll address that, a few months down the road. The 16th, which is Saturday. This is the third, the start of the third back-to-back, I believe, right? Or second?
Yep. Third,
yes. Third back-to-back set at Winnipeg, 5 p.m. on Altitude 2. The reason we're on Altitude 2 on Saturday is because the Nuggets have a game earlier that day. I forget where the Nuggets are, but the Nuggets are playing.
That game is going to be wild. It's a revenge game.
There's another division matchup game. This is going to be a battle of top 3 teams in the division. I fully expect the Avs to come out swinging me like, all right, you guys kicked our ass on our home ice. It's our turn to turn around and do the same to you. Yep. So I expect this game to be another bruiser. Expect Hellebuck in net for them. It's going to be great. And then Sunday, December 17th, our last Sunday game before the Christmas break, mind you, San Jose's in town, 6 p.m. on Altitude, NBCSA. Again, yes, they are a terrible team.
They've been coming into their stride the last few games, so they're looking a little scary.
If you guys recall the first game against them this season, it took nearly 60 minutes to score a goal because their goaltender stood on his head the entire freaking game. Do not think little of them just because they are last place in the in the Pacific Division here, I
Yep.
believe. Or
Yeah,
second
they're
to
last in
last.
the-
They're in 7th. They've got one less win than the Anaheim Ducks, but they've got 3 overtime points, so that saves them. They're in 7th in the Pacific Division, but I still wouldn't sleep on this team, guys. They might have a minus 53 differential, but they're still a capable team. Like I said a little
Anything
bit
can happen.
earlier,
It's the NHL.
these are all NHL level players. They are all high caliber elite players in their own right. That's why they are professional athletes. Don't sleep on them. If week 14 of the NFL told us anything, you don't sleep on the underdogs. Okay? Same thing in the NHL. You can't sleep on the underdogs. Even though Habs are favored in most of their matchups, you still can't do it. And last but not least, we go to Chicago. I think this is the first chance Avs fans will get to see Connor Bedard in action. So enjoy the show. Let's see how I'm ready to hear the comparisons between MacKinnon and Bedard, because Bedard and McDavid went at it last night. So I heard that was a pretty entertaining show. I didn't watch any of it. I got to go watch highlights. But Bedard scored another goal, in case anybody didn't know. I'm tired of it.
I'm sick of hearing it. I'm sick of hearing it too.
Tuesday next week, 6:30 p.m. start on Altitude as well. What do you think about this upcoming week's list of games here?
Well, as you said, like, you can't sleep on any of these teams. Like, you got San Jose coming back into their mojo and playing like San Jose can. Chicago's got Bedard. Blah blah blah. But Winnipeg's gonna be a tough game. I think that's gonna be our toughest challenge of these next 4 games, because of the animosity and the division rivalry, division game we have going on, and with how tight the Central is because of it.
Yeah, the whole Western Conference is such a tight race right now, everybody. It's absolutely insane what's going on. You've got Avs at 36 points, Stars 35, Winnipeg 34, Predators 32, Arizona 28, St. Louis Blues 27. That might change as Craig Berube was fired yesterday or today. Yesterday,
immediately following their loss.
Following their loss, Craig Berube was relieved of duties. Interim head coach is going to be their minor league, their AHL head coach is being called up and is taking over on the bench for the St. Louis Blues. Over in the Pacific, Vegas 45, Canucks 39, Kings 36, Edmonton Oilers 27 points. Oilers are starting to climb back after that early season, whatever you want to call that. That was terrible. But it is looking pretty crazy and tight in there. Avs are currently 3rd in the Pacific Division based on overall point totals and matchups right there. And in the Eastern Conference, it's still pretty tight right there. You've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 teams with over 10 teams with over 30 points. So it might be a closer year than what you think. Vegas is currently the President's Trophy contenders right now at 45 points. So let's get to our final thoughts before we get ready to sign off for the rest of this for tonight. Kaiser, any final thoughts for you as we get ready to sign off and get comfy as we await the Buffalo Sabres at the Colorado?
Well, my final thoughts and final question for you, honestly, is what do you got for prediction for tonight's game?
Prediction for tonight's game. I believe the Avs will eke out a win in overtime in a shootout, 4-3.
I was gonna say 3-2 in regulation. First goal scorer, I want to say Devin Taves.
First goal scorer, I don't think it's going to be Devin Taves. I think it's going to be some rando person. I feel that our first goal scorer in tonight's game is going to be number 4, Bowen Byram, with a slapper.
Bowen Byram. We're both going defensemen. Look at us.
Yeah, we're we're rolling the big dice on this one, man. It's going to be an interesting thing. All right, everybody, we are going to get ready to sign off here. Just to give you guys a heads up, next week's show is going to be our final show of the year before we head off for the holiday season. We're going to give you guys that time to enjoy with your family for Christmas, for New Year's, everything else, friends and family. Do what you got to do. Go out and celebrate. Have a great time. Kaiser, thanks again for joining us on today's show. I look forward to having Kaiser around a lot more as we move forward. But that's going to do it for us tonight. Buffalo's coming up 8 p.m. Check out that game. Let's go Avs. Let's go out and get a win, everybody. Until next week at 6 p.m., we'll see you guys. Have a good night.